World Wide Web is amazing. There's a lot of content to be browsed, and to browse it, we use a web browser. A web browser is responsible for rendering a web page loaded from a web server. Now, there are three main components of a web page: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. JavaScript is mainly used as a client-side scripting language for making the websites more interactive. All major web browsers have a built-in JavaScript engine which executes the JavaScript code on the user device. Web browsers also support something called browser extensions. These are small software programs which can customize your browsing experience. These extensions can do a variety of tasks on a web page, such as UI modification, ad blocking, cookie management, and so on. Now, a very interesting type of browser extension is Userscript Manager. A Userscript Manager provides a user interface to manage user scripts, of course. But what are user scripts? Well, user scripts are programs usually written in JavaScript for modifying the web pages. And in order to execute a user script when the web page is loaded, we need a user script manager. Two popular user script managers are GreaseMonkey and TamperMonkey. GreaseMonkey was made first. It was for Firefox specifically, and then TamperMonkey was released as a wrapper of GreaseMonkey for Google Chrome. But today, TamperMonkey is much more popular and portable. It works on Firefox, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Opera, and Safari. So what we are going to do in this video is that we will be learning how to write a cool user script using TamperMonkey to improve our browsing experience on any given website or any simple web page. So that's what we are going to do in this particular video. So without any delay, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, we need to install TamperMonkey browser extension, right? So there is a website called tampermonkey.net, the official website of TamperMonkey, where you will see various options of web browsers, and depending upon what your web browser is, you can install it. And once you have done that, you will see this particular icon of TamperMonkey browser extension. And right now, no scripts are running, and maybe we can try to find some new scripts here. So let's go to this website. So there are multiple user script repositories which provide you various user script for doing various kind of things, and OpenUserJS is what we are trying to see here. There are multiple options: GreasyFolk, userscripts.org, and so on. Okay, so let's go with GitHub. Let's see some extension by GitHub for GitHub. So we have wide GitHub. Okay, let's see what does this extension do. It will change all the GitHub repository changes pages to be of full width. Well, that makes sense because on github.com, if you open any repository page, you will see that the width is not full. You have some white space area like this, right? So I think what this extension will do is that it will just expand. It will make your content full width. So what you need to do is just click on install. And once you have done that, now before clicking this install, what I would recommend is that you just go through the source code which is provided here. This is the JavaScript code which will run whenever github.com page loads, any github.com page loads, this script will be running. So let us try to see what this script does. Okay, so this is the main function, and in the main function they are just creating a new element which is called style. So style tag is used in the HTML documents to specify the CSS that you want to have. So it is just putting that CSS there, nothing else. So this seems like a very safe code. There is nothing hacky happening here, right? So you might think of something hacky happening when you see that there may be the JavaScript code is trying to read some personal information from your account while it is running on a particular web page and then sending it to, let's say, any server or any particular URL that has been specified in that code only, right? So that kind of things can be malicious, and you should be careful while using those kind of scripts. So right now all this part is just CSS which will be responsible for increasing the width. So this seems like a good script to me. So I'm just going to click on the final install. So the script got installed. So now let me just reload this GitHub page, and look at that, we have got full width. So it seems that this script works fine, right? We can see that the white GitHub script is running, and I can just temporarily disable it as well. So if I disable it and I reload the page, then I am back on the normal behavior. And now let me just enable it back again. So yeah, so in this way you can use any kind of TamperMonkey scripts. So yeah, so this was an example of a TamperMonkey scripts, and now it's time to make our own TamperMonkey user script. Okay, so I'll be making a TamperMonkey script for this website called codechef.com. Codechef.com is a competitive programming website where you have multiple competitions related to coding. So there are multiple types of coding problems here, as you can see. So let me open any one of them. So the thing is that on the problem pages, the format that Codechef generally follows is that they provide you some example input outputs. So the example input, for example, you have this particular input and this is the corresponding output. Now the problem here is that let's say you are writing the solution for this particular coding problem in your code editor, and now you want to test your code against this particular input. So what will you do? What will you do is that you will simply just copy this much part and then you will paste it in your input section of your code, and then you will run your code, right? So the problem here is that every time when you have to copy this, you have to use your mouse in order to select this much part, and then you have to press Ctrl+C, and then you have to paste it there. A very simple solution of making this much easier, making it easier to copy, would be to just provide a copy to clipboard button here, right? So if there is a copy to clipboard button, then you have to just click on that button and then everything here will get copied, and then you can just press Ctrl+V and you will just get that done, right? So you're saving a few clicks and some mouse selections. So this is a kind of a browsing experience that I would want, right? So what I'm gonna do now here is that I will be providing that copy to clipboard button here. Now what you have to understand here is that Codechef could also have provided that button by providing that thing in their JavaScript code, but since they are not doing it, I can do it by using some TamperMonkey script, by using some JavaScript to create that button and then provide it some functionality to copy it to clipboard. So yeah, so let's try to do that. In order to create a new TamperMonkey user script, you have to just go to your TamperMonkey dashboard and then click on this particular plus button. So now this is a new template for creating a new user script. So let me just give a name to my user script. Let me call it Codechef IO copy. So I'll be providing a copy to clipboard button for any kind of input output, right? So Codechef IO copy, that is what I'm calling it. So the version is 0.1, that's fine. Description seems good. Author, maybe I can make it Nikhil K Singh 97. And now the thing is match, right? So match is on which kind of web pages should we run this particular user script. In that, what happens is that TamperMonkey matches this particular URL with your current web page URL, and if that matches, only then that user script is run. So I would want it to be like codechef.com/problem/*, which means that anything after that. So if any such kind of URL is opened in my web browser, then I want this script to run, and that's fine. So let me just save it first. Okay, seems good. So now just to give you a feel of this thing working, let me just do something very simple. Let me just add a command called alert, in which I'm just passing something, right? So when this runs, some kind of alert box will open up. So let me just save it. So I've saved my TamperMonkey user script, and now let me reload this page. Look at that, we get codechef.com says hello. So we are getting this alert box because this script is running. Codechef IO copy is running. So yeah, so we have created a very simple user script which just shows you that alert box. So it is as simple as that. But what we need is something more, right? We need to find these kind of boxes, these kind of example input output sections, and then add some copy to clipboard button there. So the task is much more. So let's see how to do that. So I'm gonna open the developer console here. So how you open it is you just do a right click and then click on inspect. It is same in almost all the browsers. This keyboard shortcut might be different, but this option on clicking the right click, that will happen in all the browsers. So now we have opened the console here, and this is my HTML elements. So these are my HTML elements, and now I will click on this button to hover over my example input output element. Okay, so look at that. We are getting some hint here. We are getting the hint that a pre-tag is for pre-formatted text. So a pre-tag is being used for representing this kind of information, this kind of example input outputs, and that is exactly what we need. So there is only one more pre-tag here, which is representing the example output. So this seems good. I think our task is gonna be much simpler in terms of finding the elements, because we already know that we have to get some particular tags only, right? Okay, so now how to write JavaScript code to find HTML elements? Well, first of all, we need to know a bit about what is DOM, the DOM. So that is document object model. So what happens is that whenever a web page is loaded, then your web browser will actually, or the JavaScript engine you can say, will generate an object which represents your complete HTML document. And that HTML document is actually hierarchical because of the nature of the HTML documents. So the main thing is that the HTML DOM is a standard object model, and it defines your HTML elements as objects. These objects are or can be referred as JavaScript objects, and you can access the properties or the any kind of things which can happen over those HTML elements. So basically there is something called DOM in JavaScript which lets you access these HTML elements via some JavaScript code. So how do you refer to it? So let me show you some example. So this is called JavaScript console. Just like you have a Python console when you write Python, similarly you have a JavaScript console right and embedded directly in your browser. So document is what we use to refer to this complete HTML document, or you can say the DOM. And let me just show you document.title. So look at that, document.title, which is the title of this complete document. It is this, which is correct, right? So similarly, you can use any kind of different kind of methods in order to access different kind of HTML elements. So let us see how to find the HTML elements. So finding the HTML elements can be done in multiple kind of ways. You can find an element by the ID attribute of any element, or by the class name of any element, or by any kind of CSS selectors that you can use. For example, you say that background should be green, so find all those kind of elements maybe. And then an important one which we are going to need is the tag name. So in HTML, what you have is multiple kind of tags such as h3p, url, pre, and so on. So we need all the pre-tags in our code. So that is what we are going with, right? So find HTML element by tag name. So what you need to do is you need to do document.getElement by tag name. So let us try that. So going back to my console and then pasting this. So I want pre-formatted text, and look at that, we get two elements. We are getting an HTML collection object in which there are two elements, and I think we know about them. Look at that, this is the one, right? 1 4 2 2 1 2 3 4. Yeah, so inner text is correct. So yeah, so let me just give it some name. Let me call it P. So P0 is the first one. So P0 dot, now I can see a lot of things here. So let me go with text content. So look at that, we are getting the content. So yes, so we have found what we actually want to be copied to the clipboard, right? And we also found the element that we need. Now we need to find where do we want to paste our button for copying to clipboard, right? So where should I place that button? So the button should be placed, I think I can put it here maybe, or maybe just think of it like I know that this is my element that I'm looking for. So I will be searching these first. So once I have searched this, then according to the reference of this particular thing, I can put my button. So maybe I can put the button just over this particular element, right? So that is what I can do. Okay, so now where do we write the code, right? So there is something called snippets in Google Chrome specifically. In other browsers, maybe on Firefox, you can just open your Sublime text editor and start writing code. But this is some cool feature which is provided by Google Chrome, which is of creating snippets. So I'm just gonna click here on new snippet and create a new snippet. Let me call it test. So now what I can do is this, I can just write some code in this file and then run it on this particular web page. Basically what I'll be writing here will be running on the reference of this particular web page. So let's see, let me do it something like pre-tags is equal to document dot. So one bad thing about this snippets thing is that you do not get that autocomplete that you get in the console. So get elements by tag name. So what is the tag name? It is pre. Okay, so I've got the pre tags, and once I have got them, let me call p is equal to pre tags 0. So I have got one of them as well, like this. Okay, and now let me just do console.log p. Okay, so now how do we run this particular code? You have to just press Ctrl Enter and the code will run. So here is the console down here where I can see that what is the output. Okay, so let me run it again. Okay, so we are getting the output as pre-class matchjack support and so on, right? So this seems good. So what we're gonna do next? Well, I want to create a new button here. So how do we create a new element? That is what we have to think now. So we have seen how to find the existing elements, but how to create a new element. So in order to create new element, what you have to do is that you have to use the create element function of your document object, in which you first specify what type of tag you want to use, and then you can provide some inner HTML like this. And then once you have created the element, it is not applied into your HTML body. It is just an object. You have to paste it somewhere, right? So what you do is that you just append it somewhere using the append child function, or you can use something called insert before function. So insert before will just insert that particular thing just above that particular specified element. So let's see how we can create a new button. Let me call it button is equal to document dot create element, in which I'm gonna specify button, and button dot inner HTML is going to be copy. So let us write the text as just as copy for this particular button. And what else? Let's say when the button is clicked on click, then we want to do something. So let me write a function here. So this is the shorthand type of writing JavaScript functions. So here you can specify some parameters and then you can write your code here. So what I want to do is alert. Let's say I just want to raise an alert whenever that button is clicked, and that is done. And now what I want to do is I want to put my button somewhere, right? So I can use p dot insert before. Okay, so let us see what insert before does. So insert before will take two things in the input. First is the new item that you want to insert, and with whose reference, with what reference you want to paste it, right? So what is happening here is that it is pasting it before the first element of something. That seems good. So see, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna first of all put button as a new element, and then I will try to find the child nodes of p. So complete this complete thing, this complete pre-formatted text, I will find the first child under this, and before that I will putting the button. So p dot child nodes 0. I think that is what they have also done here. Okay, so child nodes is not a function, so you can just do it like this. So p dot child nodes. Okay, so this seems cool, so maybe we should run it. Oh, cool. So we got the copy button here. Well, it seems a bit weird though, because there is no line break between the other element inside our pre-formatted text, right? So I think we should add, first of all, we should add a new break, and after that we should do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new line. So how do you create a new line now? Document dot create element, in which I'm specifying br. So br is for line break, and where do I want to put it? Before the first child of p. So it is just like this, that what I'm doing is, first of all, on my this complete thing, first of all I am putting a line break before it, and over that line break I'll be pasting the button. So this is what I'm doing. So let me just run this thing again, but before that you need to understand one thing. Okay, so first let me run it, and look at that. The button just went over the other copy. Why is this happening? Because the old JavaScript code remains there. The execution of that code is already there, right? So as you run it again and again, the copy button will just get pasted above the existing one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reload this page, and this snippet will remain saved. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And first of all, I want a new line to be pasted above this thing, and then I want button to be pasted. So let me just run Control Enter. Look at that, perfect. So now let me just click on copy, and look at that, we are getting hello. So everything seems to be working fine. It's working pretty fine. So we know how to create a button, and we are able to run that button whenever whenever you are clicking over that, right? So now what we need to do is, we actually need to do something when that button is clicked, right? We want to copy to clipboard. So for copying to clipboard, I have a nice JavaScript snippet here. So let me just tell you what is happening here. So the thing is that in order to do that copy to clipboard thing, you can only copy to clipboard from any input type of HTML element. So that's why we have to first create a temporary text area HTML element, and then we will be pasting our existing elements text content. For example, this element will be my pre-formatted text element. I'll be providing that as the input. So it will take its text content, set it as the value of the text area, and then we do temp.select. So this select will make that particular thing selected. It is just like selecting something from the mouse, and then you run the command copy command. So what will happen is that everything that is selected already, that will get copied, and then you finally remove that temporary element. So that is what is happening here. So it's quite simple, but it's kind of hacky, but you have to do it. So let me just paste it somewhere. Let me paste it here. So this is my copy function. So now what I want to happen is that whenever the button is clicked, then I want to copy P. P is pre-tax 0. So I want that to be copied. So it is as simple as that. So let me just reload the page now. And let me just execute this code by pressing Control Enter. We have the copy button. Let me click on it. And once I have clicked on it, and now let me try to paste it somewhere. So let us paste it here. Okay, look at that. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that we are also getting copy written here. So why is that happening? It is happening because P actually refers to the complete thing that we have here, this complete thing. And because inside P, we were the ones who added that thing, the button, right? So we actually want P dot last child, maybe, right? We want the last child. So P dot last child. So I think last child is a function, so we are just going to go with that. So last child will fetch me the last child of this complete HTML element that we have here. So currently my HTML element have three things: copy button, a line break, and then the actual text. So that's why this is happening. So last child, and let me just run this again. So a new button will appear here. This is the new button. So let me just click on it. Okay, so the last child is not a function. Okay, so the last child is just a property. So you can always search that and you will get the thing. Okay, so this seems good, and let me just reload the page again. Okay, and finally I'm just gonna run Control Enter and then click on copy and then go to my Sublime text again, and cool. So we have done it. So we are able to get that thing copied to our clipboard. So our code is working fine. So now the only thing that I need to do here is that make a loop here, and that loop will be responsible for doing all this, right? So now just to make this code simpler, I'm just gonna copy it here from here and edit it in my TamperMonkey code editor. Okay, so alert hello is now gonna be replaced by all this code. A nice thing here is that you have the option of auto indenting everything, which makes it great. So now this is my function copy, then I have fetched all the pre-tags. So what do I want to do with all those pre-tags, right? So let me make a function here. Add copy button. So this copy button will be taking an element from where it needs to add something, a new copy button. So it will be taking a pre-tag as the input. So once you get the pre-tag as the input, what are you doing with it is what we're going to do here. So just moving everything here. Okay, so one thing is that I have to declare all these things. So I'm just going to use the let keyword. So that is fine. And I have put the add copy button P, that has to be replaced by ELE. That is the input everywhere. And here as well. Okay, this seems good. And pre-tags, again I have to make it like let, and that's it. So now we have to write a loop. So how do we write a loop in JavaScript? That is what you have to figure out now. So for pre-tag of pre-tags, what are we doing? We're just going to do something here. For pre-tag of pre-tags, add copy button, and that copy button is to be added to that pre-tag. That's it. So it is telling me pre-tag is not defined. So for let pre-tag of pre-tags. So that's it. So let me just do this again, auto indent everything. Okay, so this is my TamperMonkey script, and it seems quite elegant because everything is quite concise. So you're just finding all the pre-tags and then you're adding the copy button to all those pre-tags. As simple as that. So now let me just try to reload this page, and let me just cut everything out. Okay. Okay, so we didn't get the copy button here. Why is this happening? Well, this is happening because this script runs as soon as you open or you just put any URL here and start loading the web page. But what we want is we want the pre-tag to be available, right? That tag is actually not available up to that time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be using this thing, which is window.add event listener, where I'm telling my JavaScript code to wait until the complete page has been loaded, only then run this particular function. So this is what I'll be using in my TamperMonkey script. So let me just do it like this. And now I'll be putting my code here. So the function is this much. Okay, so this looks good. So now it will wait for the complete page to load, only then this much code will be running. So that is what actually we want. So let me just reload this page. Okay, so we got the copy button. That's fine. Let me just click here and try to paste here. That's fine. So yeah, so our TamperMonkey script is working perfectly fine. It is able to copy paste and it looks good. So yeah, so this is how we created a very nice and simple TamperMonkey script, which is doing what it needs to do. Only one thing that is a bit troublesome here, which is looking a bit troublesome, is that this button is quite ugly, right? This button doesn't seem good. So I might want to change the CSS of this button. Maybe I want to make it a bit smaller, right? So now let us just try to see quickly how to tinkle or how to change the CSS of our web page using a simple TamperMonkey script. So now I think you remember. So one thing is I would like to tell you is that you just see what code has been written already in some good TamperMonkey scripts. For example, this TamperMonkey script is doing exactly what we need. We want to edit the style of the CSS of our web page, so we can directly use this much amount of code, this much amount of logic, which states how to add some CSS to the existing CSS part of your web page. So this is what exactly what we need. And let me just use let here. What is saying? Style sheet is not defined. Yeah, so I now need to define the style sheet. So my style sheet is gonna be some CSS code. So let style sheet is equal to, so how do you write the CSS? Well, first of all, I need to be able to identify that button. So how do I identify that button? By some class name maybe. So I need to give some class name to my button. So button dot class name is equal to copy button. So this is what the name, the class name of these kind of buttons is going to be. So now I have to write dot. So dot is used to refer to classes. So dot copy button, and now I will be writing the CSS for that particular kind of buttons. So background color, maybe I can make it green. So let us see how will it look when it is green. And padding, so padding is too much right now, right? There is a lot of padding, so let me make it just 5 pixels. And what else? Maybe the size, well, let's go with this much only. Let's see how it looks. Okay, well, this looks cool, right? So you can also make the font size a bit smaller. Font size, let's make it 12 pixels, and we must be good to go. Cool. So the button now looks better. It is not too big to catch your attention directly, and you can always click it whenever you want to just copy and paste. So yeah, so this is fine. So this is how we have written a very simple TamperMonkey user script, and we learned a lot of good things while doing this. We learned how to find the HTML elements, we learned how to create some new HTML elements, and we also learned how to inject some CSS into our web page as well by doing this kind of thing. So yeah, so this is how you do this. And now you might be wanting to share this thing with your friends, right? So how would you do that? So let me just show you as the last thing for this video. So you just you can share it by putting an extension called .user.js to your file, and then directly TamperMonkey dashboard will pick that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use gist.github.com. So let me call it codechef-io.copy.user.js. So user.js is the extension that is important to notice here. And now let me just copy everything and paste it right here and create a public gist. And now just get the raw link. So this raw link will directly open this complete template monkey dashboard, TamperMonkey dashboard, and now it is giving me the option to reinstall, right? So yeah, so this is how it will work. So let me just copy this for you. So now as you can see, this is the URL which is randomly .user.js. So if I just go to this URL, it will directly open the TamperMonkey dashboard for you, where it will ask you to install this thing. So yeah, so this was all about TamperMonkey user scripts. I hope you learned how to make these TamperMonkey user scripts for your own use, and I hope you will make some great things with it. So you can share them in the comment section of this video below. And if you still have any doubts, you can put them in the comment section again. And So yeah, so that's all from this video. Thanks for watching.